Welcome to the Brooklyn Technical High School Virtual College Fair. We're so excited to have you participating in this event. We have some fantastic schools here with us today. Each will have 6 minutes to share more about their institution, but will be around for the entire session to answer your questions. My name is Raina and I will be your facilitator. Before we get started, we have a few housekeeping items to go over. Your microphone and camera are off so the panelists cannot see or hear you. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to the presenters at any time. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check the schedule on the website, including sessions for tomorrow, April 7th. This presentation is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/Brooklyn Tech. I'd now like to turn it over to our first presenter, Hofstra University.
Great. Hi, everyone. My name is Jane Laraco, and I'm here to talk a little bit with you today about Hofstra University. I think from our lineup of presenters, my university is the one that is closest to most of you, as we are located in Nassau County, New York, albeit I am coming to you from a hotel room in Denver, Colorado at the moment, where I'm doing some college fairs and some other Hofstra-related events. So just some quick facts about Hofstra. As I said, we are located 25 miles east of New York City in Nassau County, New York. We have a 240-acre campus, which is very green and park-like. We are a nationally accredited arboretum, as well as we are the largest outdoor sculpture garden on Long Island. Students can easily get from our campus in and out of the city by taking the train, the Long Island Railroad, and the train ride from campus into Penn Station is about 40 minutes. So super easy to do, to take advantage of all that New York City has to offer. Certainly fun, entertainment, sports, as well as internships. We're also about 15 miles away from JFK Airport. So Hofstra is a medium-sized comprehensive university. Medium-sized meaning we have about 6,100 undergraduate students. If you add in the graduate or master's degree students and PhD students at Hofstra, as well as the students who choose to study in our law school, as well as our Zucker School of Medicine, the total number of students on campus is about 12,000. So it puts us right into that medium-sized category. We're not too big. We're not too small. We're kind of just right. Even though we are medium-sized, we have a very small average class size. As you can see, it's about 21. Classes are capped or maximized at 35. So for most of you, the size classes that you would be in at Hofstra, regardless of whether it's a first-year class or a senior level seminar, they very much are going to resemble your high school size classes. All classes at Hofstra are taught by faculty, so we choose not to use teaching assistants or graduate assistants in our classrooms. And as you can tell, the student to faculty ratio is about 13:1. We do offer at the undergraduate level about 165 different majors. Anything that you see as a major can most definitely also be taken as a minor. And this is a list not to give you eye strain, I promise. I wish the font was a little larger. However, it's just a visual depiction of the 165 majors that we have. Our majors are housed or categorized within schools or colleges that comprise Hofstra. So for example, you would find our filmmaking major within the Herbert School of Communication at Hofstra University. Students are admitted to the university not by program or by major, but rather if a student is admitted to Hofstra, you then can select or choose any major that you want. So therefore, there are not differing admissions requirements major by major nor school by school. Certainly, there are plenty of things to do on Hofstra's campus outside of the classroom. We have more than 220 different student-run clubs and organizations. Certainly, we also have things like fraternities and sororities, as well as 21 Division I athletic teams and programs. We also offer a host of club level and intramural level sports. We have two mascots at Hofstra, a male lion and a female lion. Their names are Kate and Willie, and a group of lions is known as a pride, and for that reason, our athletic teams are known as the Hofstra Pride. Our students also engage in community service. They feel that it's super important to be giving back to the community that they are calling home for the next 4 years. Housing at Hofstra is guaranteed for all 4 years. About 82% of our first-year students do choose to live on campus, and about 80% of our undergraduate students reside with us. And just a little bit about our application and admission process. We are a university that utilizes both the common application as well as our own application. As you can see, we offer 2 distinct early action deadlines as well as a regular decision deadline, which is done on a rolling basis. Hofstra has been a test optional institution since way back in 2014 and will be test optional for the foreseeable future. We certainly take a very holistic look and review at your application for admission, including your high school transcript, the rigor contained therein, and certainly for students who do choose to submit test scores, you can see what our average or mid-ranges are all about. I thank you so very much for your attention and your time today, and I will turn things over to our next presenter.
Thank you, Hofstra University. Up next, we have Clark University.
Hi, everyone. Hope everyone can hear me. My name is Callie Andrews. I am Assistant Director in Admissions for Clark. Clark University is located in Worcester, Massachusetts. We're the 2nd largest city in New England. We average a little over 2,200 undergraduate students with an average class size of 20. So you'll see a student to faculty ratio of 10 to 1. Our Clark students are very immersed in the culture of Worcester as well as the university. Clark has come a long way since our founding in 1887, which started as the first graduate institution to have psychology, specialize in psychology. And so since then, our students have gone on to develop and design the birth control pill, as well as invent modern rocketry. So we have a little over 50 plus undergraduate minors and majors, and those minors and majors are housed within 3 different colleges. So we'll have our College of Arts and Sciences, and example majors in that college are psychology, geography, and history, for example. And then in our School of Management, you'll see entrepreneurship, finance, and marketing. Becker School of Design and Technology, this is a new school for us. During the pandemic, a neighbor school of ours, Becker College, unfortunately had to close their doors. So we acquired their School of Design and Technology. At the time, it was the #2 ranked video game design program in the world. After acquiring it, it's now ranked #3. We took over 8 of their faculty and about 80 students transferred into the university with the program. So we're super excited to have that program. And we're also building a pretty great building on campus that's going to launch in fall of 2023. So students are going to fulfill 3 different requirements to graduate. And then there's also one that is optional. So the 3 that are required, you'll see first year intensive. That's a class that you'll take your first semester as a Clark student. That class is designed to only have about 9 students, and you'll be matched with a professor. Whatever class that you choose going into the summer of your freshman year will immerse you into the the college and campus life of Clark University. So it'll also get you acclimated to the great city of Worcester. It's meant to be small so that you can get to know your fellow classmates as well as your professor. Your program of liberal studies, this type of course requirement will be split up into 9 different courses that you'll take throughout your time at Clark University. And the examples are listed below. So verbal expression, for example, you may think of that as a writing course, or formal analysis, you may think of that as your traditional math course, but students don't always take a math course in that type of class. Students can also take mapping as a course to fulfill their formal analysis, so geographical mapping. Your problems of practice course, this is the optional course. It's not required to graduate, but our students love to take these courses as you get to explore different types of internships, or maybe even go out into the city. Some of our students will create podcasts and go out into the city of Worcester throughout all of the amazing restaurants and kind of do their podcasts and kind of learn the different types of restaurants, which is pretty cool. And then your capstone, you don't have to worry about that until your senior year, but students will either write a large paper, they'll do an internship, or they'll conduct their own research. So 1 to 3 students will participate in what's called our 5th year accelerated master's program. And the cool thing about Clark University is that our 5th year is tuition free. So you'll apply going into towards the end of your junior year, and towards one of these programs listed over on the right-hand side. And if you're accepted into the program, you'll start your classes towards the end of your senior year, which will take you into that 5th year where you'll complete your courses and your requirements to get that master's degree within 5 years. So 97% of our students are employed or in graduate school within 6 months after they graduate from Clark. And so that's a number that we take pride in, as a lot of our students will take advantage of that 5th year option. So a little bit about our admissions and financial aid process. So here's the list of some of our deadlines over to the left. That early action deadline for November 15th, that is a non-binding deadline, but our early decision 1, early decision 2, those are binding decisions, which means you'll have to sign a contract and basically tell us that you would like to come to Clark. And that looks like the rest of my time. So I'm going to hand it over to the next presenter.
Thank you, Clark University. And to our presenters as well, feel free to put your contact information in the chat for everyone as well. Okay, next we have Massey University, New Zealand.
Hi, everyone. I'm actually going to change my background so that you see where I'm sitting right now. So I'm just in the area where I live. So it's a very peaceful place. So let me now share my screen so that I can explain a little bit more what I'm talking about. So for everyone, hello, New York. I'm in New Zealand. Today it's Thursday here. It's 10:15 a.m. on Thursday, so we're ahead in time here. And I just wanted to chat with you to let you know or make you consider New Zealand as a realistic option for your studies after high school. So I'm just starting with the name. Massey University has also a Maori name, which is Te Kunenga Keep Infinity. What I'm trying to say here, our job is not to tell you where to go. It's to actually push you wherever you want to go. You're going to tell us where you want to go, and we're going to get it working. Everybody speaks English in New Zealand, but Maori is the identity language. So if you come over, you'll start learning a lot of little words and things, that kia ora to say hello, all those little things, whanau to say family. It's extremely interesting. So where are we? We are not down under like Australia says. If you look at the map, we're on top of the world. That's how we would like to see each other. We are different than Australia. We are a much smaller country, a much more personal country, and a country that has a very even weather, a very temperate temperatures, right? To get here from New York, there's a one direct flight. Actually, flights to Australia sometimes stop in New Zealand first, and then move forward to Australia. So it's not as far as you think. Yeah, it's 12, 13 hours flight, but it's a direct flight. So it's not that difficult to get to New Zealand. Why New Zealand? Well, here you see some of the rankings as a country. Basically, I'm a foreigner myself. I was born in Mexico, have a German background, and I'm only a very common person in New Zealand. 25% of the population of New Zealand were born outside New Zealand. So 1 in every 4 will be just like you when you're here in New Zealand and trying to find their way and learning to live in a different culture, in a different environment. If somebody asks you, where are you from? It's nearly like, what do you think about the weather today? It's a conversation starter because everybody has a background that is from somewhere else, and everybody recognizes that if you're coming from outside, you might have something interesting, something good, something you can share that can enrich our country. So you're not only viewed as we will teach you, you're also viewed as you will teach us, right? So another few reasons why New Zealand. Bachelor degrees are 3 years here. So you finish high school and you'll have finished your bachelor degree in 3 years. Shorter, faster. We are registered for US financial aid, so you don't miss out on that. It's still available, regardless of you being in the US or coming to New Zealand. My click is a little bit slow. So it's a very friendly country, as you saw in the statistics, and very safe. We are the first country that signed an agreement with the New Zealand government. So, I mean, it's internal. All education institutions are aligned to the pastoral care of international students, which means we have to make sure that you are in a safe environment, that you will be looked after, and that the services that you're provided are right. If you're unhappy with what Massey offers you, you can actually go straight to the government and say, hey, these guys are not responding, and we get the government on top of us. So it's really safe. It's really cozy, I would say, in that sense. You can choose whether you want to live on campus. If you want to live with a New Zealand family, we will get that sorted for you, or stay independent. That's also possible. Tuition fees, probably your next question. It's probably cheaper than paying an out-of-state university. So it's affordable. It's not as difficult as you think. And it's internationally recognized. Your degrees will be recognized in the US. For example, we have a very strong amount of American students coming here to do veterinary studies. The degree as a veterinarian in New Zealand is recognized in the US. Our students go back home and can start working as veterinarian. They don't need to do any additional qualifications or any additional recognition. Same with art and design. We are a recognized university equivalent to any university of art and design in the US. Right? Pastoral care was what I mentioned. We are committed to make sure you're happy, you're good, and you're looked after. And the last one I want to mention is also application processes with us is extremely, extremely easy. No application fees, no testimonial, no interviews. Basically, we need you to go online, enter your details, scan your results. You don't have to send us the originals in the first instance. Just scan it. We will review based on that and send you an offer of admission, just saying when you come over, bring us the original documents. So extremely easy. You can do it on the side. You're not committing to anything. Just take it in, get an offer, and later you can decide whether you're really going to dare and come all the way to New Zealand. Right? Massey has 3 campuses. Auckland, Palmerston North, Wellington, and we're leaders in distance education. You could even start via distance from the US just to see if you like the feel of how New Zealand teaches, and come to New Zealand next year, 2023 in February. We have a February and a July start. So easy as. Auckland is the largest city, 1.5 million people. 40% of the population in Auckland was born outside New Zealand. Palmerston North is a small city of 80,000 people, and Wellington is the capital of the arts, right? What do we offer? Sciences, all the sciences, including engineering, business, health sciences, humanities and social sciences, liberal arts, creative arts. We have the oldest school of creative arts that is design, film, TV, movies, all that. Sciences, anything with agriculture, anything that you think New Zealand is good at, Massey will be teaching it. Right? Just to give you an idea on the tuition fees before my time runs out. So it's not as expensive. A bachelor degree, 19,000, 20,000 US dollars per year in tuition fees. Living costs, that includes accommodation and food. Right, and that's really me. Just wanted to show you that. You got my contact details. I'll type in the chat box now in a minute my contact details and general information about Massey. But I hope this opens your eyes into there's other options besides just the US. Thank you.
Thank you, Massey University, New Zealand. Okay, Bard College.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. My name is Kate Hardy. I'm Senior Associate Director of Admission at Bard. I'm also a Bard alumna, class of 2007, which means that I've been told that I'm ancient as a student. Not everyone wants to hear about my student experience, but I'm always happy to speak from that perspective as well. I'm really excited to share a little bit more with you about Bard tonight. This photo, this cover photo, I chose really intentionally because I think it actually represents a lot about the ethos of Bard in general. In the background, this is actually a photo of the matriculation celebration that happens at the beginning of the first semester that all first year students participate in after the language and thinking program, which is our really distinctive sort of academic and social orientation program for first year students. The building in the background is actually a space called Manor House that is an 18th century mansion that's been converted into a residence hall and really important social space on campus. And I think in a lot of ways it represents sort of the classical underpinnings of a Bard education that I think is most evident through our core curriculum and especially through our first year seminar Great Books course. But in the foreground is this amazing large scale sculpture called Stargon that I think is really emblematic of how important the arts are within our curriculum, how important sort of the creation of original work is within the student's academic experience. And I also love the socks. Bard students are expressive, they're inclusive. And I think it's a really great representation and little window into how we really celebrate the individual and the collective. Bard is located 2 hours north of New York City in Annandale-on-Hudson. We have our own secluded corner of the Hudson River Valley. There's nothing in Annandale except for Bard. And as you can see, there's a lot of wide open green space. We're right on the Hudson River across from the Catskill Mountains, but we're also right on the Amtrak train. So the Rhinecliff train station is about 15 minutes away, and there are shuttles that go to the train stations every weekend for students that want to access New York City, but we're not so close to the city that we don't have a really vibrant and active social scene on campus. And we are also part of a really vibrant and active region of New York State in the Mid-Hudson River Valley. And so as much as we have all of the sort of amazing tranquility and beauty of a rural location, we are not in the middle of nowhere. And I like to really emphasize that. We're the fusion of 3 different Hudson River Valley estates. So there are actually 3 manor houses on our campus, and that's a history that we're really mindful of and really intentional about, not just in terms of sort of celebrating the opulence and the beauty of that history, but also celebrating sort of the history of colonialism and Indigenous history that goes along with that, that can be more complex and more painful. But at Bard, we are about leaning into challenging conversations and getting comfortable with discomfort and ambiguity. And that's a really important hallmark of the liberal arts in general. At Bard, we have a really highly participatory campus culture, from the academics to the social life. All of our classes are seminar style, including classes in STEM and in the arts. Our average class size is about 14 or less, and all students have access to one-on-one learning through the senior project. We also have over 180 different student-run organizations on campus that fuel the social life throughout the weekends and throughout the week. They all have budgets, and it's really a for students by students culture. And I think that's a really big part of what gives BARD students the opportunity to really own their experience and come into themselves in terms of their identity and their interests. BARD also functions as a network. This is part of how we have name recognition in the 5 boroughs, because in Queens and Manhattan are 2 of our early college campuses. There are also 6 other ones throughout the country. We also have a network of international campuses. We were a founding partner of the Open Society University network. So we have really vast global reach and opportunities for global study virtually and in person. And we also operate one of the largest prison education programs in the country. There's a great documentary about that called College Behind Bars. You should watch it. It's for free on PBS Learning Media. We also have a wonderful, social justice is really woven throughout the academic curriculum, but we have a great program called TLS that pays students to run their own civic engagement projects and NGOs. We have a core curriculum, as I said before, including that language and thinking program and the senior project. The first year program allows students to get a sort of equitable foundation, while also ultimately leaning into an area of study that they're interested in at the end of the day and making a professional caliber contribution to their field through the senior project. This is the full menu of what we offer. This is all you can eat. That's the beauty of the liberal arts. You don't have to choose. Even once you choose a major, you're really encouraged to explore outside of it and really think in multidisciplinary ways and ways that are sort of original and dynamic. Again, this is just a window into the different types of clubs and activities that we offer. We have an extremely active campus culture again. And we have some unique opportunities for applying to BARD. The most unique are the BARD entrance exam and the immediate decision plan, which gives students the opportunity to kind of step outside the traditional confines of the admissions process and be seen as more than just a collection of numbers and figures. Every college will tell you they have a holistic admissions process, but what that means at BARD is that there's a real synergy between what we value in our admissions process and what we value on our campus. And so context is really important. Standardized testing is not important. We have been test optional since the 70s, and there is no application fee to apply. I'm going to drop an inquiry card link into the chat as well as my contact information. I would love to stay in touch with you more about BARD. I actually am based in the 5 boroughs and work predominantly with students from the metro area. So I look forward to keeping in touch. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Bard College. Again, remember that you can enter your questions in the Q&A there as well. So next up, we have SUNY College at Oneonta.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Zachary Frangus. I am the New York City Regional Admissions Counselor for SUNY Oneonta. So I'm based down here and I work with all of our students from the 5 boroughs. To get started tonight, if this is your first time hearing about Oneonta, we are part of the SUNY system. That's what the state system is for, upstate New York. We're located about 3 hours outside of New York City. We sit right in the middle of Albany and Binghamton. So you're about an hour and 15 minutes west of the capital. When you think of Oneonta, you think of a different environment than you think of New York City. You think of a small town, a rural area with a population of only about 14,000 people. However, we have just over 6,000 students that live on our campus during the academic year, and we have a small private school straight across the street from us. So over 8,000 students are living in this small town during the academic year. So you really get that true going away college experience. We are a 4-year liberal arts school with 56 academic majors, 7 nationally accredited programs, with an average class size about 21 students and a 19-to-1 student faculty ratio. We keep our class size that small so our faculty members really get to know our students on a first name basis. And we don't have any teacher assistants or graduate assistants teaching our classes. So all of our classes are taught 100% by faculty members. And that is really for our students to open up those networking opportunities as far as internship opportunities and job placement afterwards. This gives you a list of our academic majors for bachelor's programs. In addition to those, we have what's called pre-professional programs, cooperative programs, and minors. So technically, a student has over 120 academic programs to choose from at Oneonta. We were founded as a teacher's college, so that is one of our most rigorous programs. It does have about a 90% success rate with teaching with your bachelor's straight out of college, as well as we do offer a combined program for early and elementary education that certifies you birth through 6th grade for that education. Our top 5 most currently enrolled majors include our psychology program, business administration, education, music industry, and then biology. Do note that 25% of our students do come in as undecided. So it is our biggest major for first-year students. So you don't have to know exactly what you want to do when you come into Oneonta. You have 2 years to really explore, figuring out what you like, what you don't like. You work very closely with our career development office and our academic advisement office. You work with academic advisement, taking courses that interest you to figure out what you like, what you don't like. But then you're also working with career development office, looking at different majors and different job outcomes that you can come out with each major. So that way you are prepared to declare that major going into your the end of your second year at Oneonta. When you think of cooperative programs, you think of multiple institutions and multiple degrees. So to give you an example, one of our most popular is our physical therapy cooperative program. It's a 4+3 program with Upstate Medical Institution, where a student can apply into Oneonta at the undergraduate level and get priority consideration. If they get into the Upstate Medical program at the graduate level, they actually cut a year off their doctorate. And each cooperative program is a little unique. So to give you another example, like our fashion, you actually come out with a bachelor's and an associate's degree from FIT and Oneonta. So if you're interested in any of those programs, you can just put them in the Q&A and I can give you a little bit more detail on those. When you're at Oneonta, we're very big on that hands-on learning experience. By your senior year, about 2/3 of our seniors have already completed into experiential learning experiences within their undergraduate program. You also have the biggest opportunity for study abroad opportunity. Because we're part of that SUNY system, we do share all of our study abroad opportunities. So no matter where you want to go, you're going to find it within the SUNY system. But say that you want to go to a specific country that Oneonta is not going to that semester, you can go with another SUNY school as an Oneonta student. We have a lot of funding for our students, so we're not a huge research institution. However, research is done daily on our institution by both students, faculty, and they can either be independent studies, they can be research with other students, or research one-on-one with a faculty member. We have a lot of funding that we have set aside for current students to apply to do scholarships to be able to do that research and then presenting it nationally at different conferences. We are a fully residential campus, so you're not finding our students going home on the weekends. They're really staying on campus, they're getting involved. That is also because there's a lot of campus activity, a lot of campus life on campus. All of our resident halls have been renovated, all have a gym inside them. You also carry an unlimited meal plan while you're on campus. So we have 3 main dining halls. My favorite that I always have to talk about real quick is the My Kitchen, which is actually a commercially stocked kitchen where you can go in and cook your own food. And there's a chef in there that will help you. And that's just a meal swipe. You have over 150 clubs and organizations to get involved with. We're D3 athletics with 21 varsity sports, as well as 21 Greek organizations on campus. But being part of that small community, we're very big on giving back to that local community. So our students did complete over 50,000 hours of community service. When applying into Oneonta, there's a couple of different applications and a couple of different ways that you can apply to get into the institution. The first is our early action application. Don't get this confused with early decision. It's a non-binding decision. What the benefit of applying early action is it does give you priority consideration to the institution, and you are guaranteed a decision by January 5th of that senior year. Also on the screen is our scholarship money. It's all merit-based money, and there's no additional application for the scholarships. When you apply into Oneonta, if you're eligible for a scholarship, that we would automatically review you for that information. And then if you apply general decision, just note that those are rolling decisions, and we'll be sending those decisions out after January 5th of your senior year, after we get all the early action applications out the door. This is my contact real quick. And if you have any questions, I'll be in the chat, but thank you.
Thank you, SUNY College at Oneonta. And our final presenter this evening is Wesleyan University.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon or good evening. My name is Janet Ortiz. I'm a Senior Assistant Dean of Admission at Wesleyan University, and I'm really excited to get to chat with you all tonight. So Wesleyan University is a small liberal arts college. We're located in Middletown, Connecticut, which is about 2 hours outside of New York City. You can see that we are also halfway in between New York City and Boston, two cities that are definitely accessible to students if they would like to, go into the city, whether that's New York City or Boston. We're also halfway in between Hartford and New Haven right here in Connecticut. So those are definitely all options. But overall, Wesleyan is a fully residential college. So most of students' time is spent here on campus with us. And I'll talk a little bit more about residential life in a little bit. But overall, this is just a shot of our overall campus. You can see here in the front, our row, this is College Row. This is where our oldest and most historical buildings are. Back here is Olin Library, a second library, which is the Science Library right behind it. We also have Freeman Athletic Center back here. Over to the right of the screen, which you can't see, is the admission office, as well as our Center for the Arts. End to end, I would say Wesleyan's campus is about a 15 to 20 minute walk. Getting to classes, waking up, you'll probably have a 10-minute commute time versus a 45-minute commute time. So I know that, students, especially coming from New York City, that is something to be excited about. But again, we are a fully residential campus, and this is just a snapshot of our overall college. Wesleyan, one thing that you should definitely know about us, one thing that you should always keep in mind as you think about Wesleyan is that we do have an open curriculum, and the open curriculum is something that is very special, very unique. Overall, Wesleyan doesn't have a single required course for students. So it is very free and flexible to choose the classes that you're really drawn to the most. And students will declare a major at the end of their sophomore year. Of the options, we have about 45 majors, 30 minors, and 3 certificate programs, over 1,000 courses offered each semester. So students will be choosing classes, all of their classes, they will be handpicking at the beginning of each semester. And in those classes themselves, it is a small environment. The average class size at Wesleyan is 19 students, and the student to faculty ratio is 8:1. It is a very robust academic environment, with opportunities for advising. Of course, you'll have a pre-major advisor, a major advisor. Pretty much anything you do at Wesleyan, you will have an advisor. You'll have a thesis advisor if you decide to do a thesis, study abroad advisor if you choose to study abroad. So there are tons of opportunities to really engage, but also have guidance within that. We don't want you getting lost within the open curriculum, since there is, again, so much freedom and flexibility within it. If you do have questions about the open curriculum, please feel free to ask in the chat. I know it is something that's a little bit different, very unique. So I'd be happy to chat about it more. Overall, Wesleyan, like I mentioned, is a fully residential campus. We have about 3,000 undergraduates overall and about 150 graduate students. And the residential program at Wesleyan, I think, is very, very special. So students are typically starting in residential halls. This is kind of your typical dorm. In the next year, we do have a program house option for students. And these are typically about 25 to 30 students that are living in a cooperative style of living with other students. And each program house has a different mission around it. So for example, there is Outhouse for students that enjoy the outdoors, Film House for students that are really passionate about film. There is Earth House for students that love, the earth and sustainability, Film House, and so on and so forth, Film House, Art House, Music House. There are about 30 program houses. So there are definitely a lot to explore there. We also have apartment style of living, so 2 to 4 person apartments available, as well as kind of at the end of all of it, wood frame houses. These are typically offered to students in their senior year, and a very independent style of living here, where you're living with 2 to 6 of your closest friends, decorating exactly how you like, but also understanding that, navigating house chores, cooking for yourself, all the things that come with kind of living your life as an adult, hopefully. But again, Wesleyan is your landlord. This is all on campus housing. So if something breaks or, light breaks, toilet breaks, Wesleyan will be there to fix it. This is just a shot of Foss Hill. Foss Hill is right at the center of our campus, is kind of the heart of our campus. You can see that on, nice days, students are definitely picnicking, watching a baseball game, even reunion and commencement happen on Foss Hill. So it is definitely a special place on campus. And if you ever are able to visit, I would definitely recommend, just spending some time on Foss Hill and people watching. That's definitely my favorite thing to do. Overall, to chat a little bit about admission and financial aid. So for admission, Wesleyan offers 2 early decision plans. So early decision 1 and 2. November 15th is the early decision 1 deadline. ED2 is January 1st. And again, these are both binding. Regular decision, we have a January 1 deadline. Some things to know about our admission process is that we are test optional. Wesleyan does not have any supplement, and there's no application fee for any student that's applying for financial aid. We are a Common App school, a coalition application school, as well as a QuestBridge partner institution. But either way, we are, whatever application you choose to submit, we will be looking at all of the same kind of criteria within that. For financial aid at Wesleyan, we meet 100% of demonstrated need. It's a need-based only financial aid program, so no merit scholarships or athletic scholarships. It's a big priority at Wesleyan, where families earning under $120,000 or less will not have any student loans. So that is huge. And overall, Wesleyan will not package any student with more than $19,000 over 4 years in financial aid loans. I definitely encourage folks to use the net price calculator. Again, feel free to chat with me in the chat section tonight, and I'll also add some other information about Wesleyan as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Wesleyan University. Okay, we have a few minutes, so I'm going to ask everyone to join me in answering the following question. What advice would you give someone going through the college search process? And again, we'll go in the same order as we presented. So Hofstra University.
Absolutely. I think now that the world is starting to open up a little bit more, perhaps, than before, my best piece of advice is try and do some visiting. Try and do some visiting over the summer of college campuses to get ideas of what you like, where your preferences may lie, and include in that list maybe one school that you've not ever heard of before.
Great. And Clark University.
I am going to co-sign Hofstra with visiting the campuses. Definitely get out there and visit campuses. My biggest piece of advice is definitely visiting during times where the students are on campus. So you can get a feel and a look to really what it's like being a student on that specific campus. Definitely close your eyes and maybe feel yourself possibly being a student there. That's my best piece of advice.
And Massey University.
All right, I cannot recommend come and visit on your weekend. You might need to have a longer trip and have a long holiday, but if you can, it would be fantastic. But most of all, think about what you want, and not only what you want, where you are going, but actually try to think backwards into once you graduate, what do you want to be able to say that you achieved? So think that you're graduating and thinking, this is what I wanted. What do you want? Think on that side of things. On the other hand, don't limit yourself. You don't have to apply to just one university. Just apply to several ones when you feel something's interesting, that sounds right. So that at the end of the journey, once you graduated from high school, you have a few options and say, from everything I researched, this one sounds the best one. I'll pick this one. But then you have it all on the table. You're not biting your fingernails thinking, where should I go? What should I check? You have the options ready.
And Bard College.
I would echo so much of what has already been said and just say, own it. This is yours. It's not your friends. It's not your parents. It's not US News and World Reports. It is your college process. There's lots of extraneous information out there that's putting pressure on you to make this happen in a certain way and have this happen with a certain amount of prestige. And I will just say, like, you are all doing all the right things. You're here at 6:43 on a Wednesday learning about college. Keep doing what you're doing, and you will all get there.
And SUNY College at Oneonta.
Again, everybody's advice was great. The only thing I would add in is definitely try to be organized, try to pay attention to deadlines and maybe create a timeline, because that is the most important thing, are deadlines. Every college is different. Every application process might be different. We all might be looking for a lot of things. So if you can get organized and get a timeline put together, it will make your senior year a whole lot easier, because there's some deadlines that you might need to apply to have an admissions application on file just to be considered for scholarship money. There might be separate scholarship applications. So the more that you get organized and stick to that timeline, I feel like it makes your senior year a whole lot easier.
And Wesleyan University, what's your advice?
Yes, thank you. So yeah, my piece of advice is kind of out there, but I would kind of basically just abandon the notion of a perfect fit or the perfect college for you, because there are so many places that you can really make the most out of the experience wherever you go, whether that's a Wesleyan or Bard or Hofstra. So definitely just keep an open mind and realize that there are so many colleges and universities out there, and they can all really serve you very well. And it really will be whatever you make of it in the end.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. When you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 5-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. We encourage you to check back on the schedule and sign up for more sessions, including the sessions available tomorrow, April 7th. You'll be able to find this session's recordings as well as all of the other sessions recordings at strivescan.com/Brooklyn Tech. Thanks again.